Welcome to New to Media, where we connect you to the best service professionals and help you learn about great experiences all over the world.
All right. Hey, it's so cool to have you here, man. This is for the audience that doesn't know you. This is Steve Wiltz. Steve Wiltz is a friend of mine that I've gotten to know over the last year. He is a very successful content creator and influencer, and he also happens to be a mortgage professional. Steve is one of those people that kills productivity in your office when your employees are watching social media.
That's the goal, man. That's the goal. You got to distract them from the craziness every once in a while. So
yeah, no, exactly. How did it get started again? How did the whole write that down thing get started?
The write that down thing, I honestly don't know. I think I slipped it in at the end of something randomly. I've been saying it forever. A lot of people will, not a lot, maybe less than I would think, because I love this movie. But Van Wilder came out like in 2002, and Ryan Reynolds says it. I think he says it 6 times in that movie. I thought it was a ton more times than just that 6.
Yeah.
But then I watched the whole movie and I documented like what time it was, because I wanted to take clips and use him. I'll do one eventually where we're just back and forth saying write that down. But I slipped it in at the end of a joke sometime and it just stuck. And I think it was at the very beginning, because I looked back at my stuff and there's not many that I don't say it in. So
you actually were making the content and building an audience before the write that down part even started. How long were you making content before you slipped that in there?
Yeah, I mean, truly, really into it. 2021 ish. It was we had just I don't know when we came out of COVID, or it's different for everyone, I guess. But if you even believed in it, but that's a whole nother thing. But toward the beginning part of 2021, I mean, being a dad is difficult as it is, and I'm thinking, how can I teach my kids something cool? And so I made these things, a smile card, which was I wrote up a poem and had it printed on a bunch of plastic business cards to pass around, and we went around our local area and we're handing them out, and I made a video about it, and then all of a sudden it just kind of blew up from there, and it hooked me, and I ended up, people wanted them, and so we printed a ton more and sold them, and they're still up there on our site, but there's probably around 250,000 of them kind of floating around now.
That's
which is
amazing.
Neat. Yeah, people kind of go back and find my old stuff, and they've actually been ordering a bunch of stuff lately, but I haven't even talked about them. So.
That's really cool. So that's almost like if you want to get back to the roots of how this started, it was actually started as a mental health, or just as outreach to be a nice guy, which is, it's cool, man. It's cool that you did something that was meant to just help some people, and it came back around to be something really fun, and grew from there.
Yeah, I mean, it was neat just to see how to affect people in a good way, right? There's a lot of stuff out there that's crazy.
Yeah.
We've all been through our own set of stuff, but I've always had a strong concentration on mental health stuff. And so from that point back then, when that went a little crazy, I mean, I was making some content about the cards and mental health, and I latched onto that for probably a good year or a year and a half, and maybe almost 2 years, and was putting out some deeper thought content and things like that, and that just is draining. So every once in a while I'll probably pop something in there, and if anybody watches my stuff, you'll see the jokes and the inappropriate humor, and all of a sudden I'll slip one in there that's just a super deep thought just about life or something like that. So I'm kind of like, whoa, I wasn't expecting that.
Come for the comedy, stay for the enlightenment.
Well, that's the hook. You get them thinking one way and take a left turn at Albuquerque and
Yeah.
throw them off.
Well, and that's one thing I've been thinking about as a media company that is, we're trying to help people make content so that they can obviously get business out of it, but it's getting harder and harder to do something that's going to get engagement. And there's so much content out there on so many different formats, and we're constantly investing in technology to try to do things differently. But I think a lot of the time it just comes down to, is it good content? Is it something that people are interested in? And so you have really tapped into something that is interesting to people, not just because it's comedy, because it's about probably the most important relationship that they have in their life, about their spouse. And I mean, tell me about that. Talk to me about that.
That's just what really performs. And it was fun to make up, innuendos and things like that, because my mind is probably stuck at a 13-year-old, maturity age. And now it's just a kind of a sickness. I can't turn it off. It's just constantly running, and I have this gigantic list of ideas of things to do that sits on my phone. So yeah, finding what works. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is what works for you. If it's not your style, or you're not doing it for fun, and sometimes it is a chore. Sometimes it's like you just got to keep pushing through it. For something like your company that's trying to help people move around, it's like you're not going to really get people searching that out until they're actually ready for it to do it, right? So my whole thing was, and I didn't expect this to work this way, but just being in front of people, I write loans and do mortgages for a day job, and
you've done that for a long time, by the way, too. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been in banking and mortgages for about, I don't know, 16 years, 17 years.
So you're good at it.
Well, it was never meant to be anything related to that, but because you're in front of someone, then they remember, oh yeah, okay, this, hey, Steve does mortgages. Just watch one of his reels, or just one of his shorts, or whatever, and it keeps you in front of people. So I think that's something that people forget. Like, if you're not putting content out continuously, or if you're just not trying, then you're not in front of someone, and they're not going to remember you.
Yeah.
When the time comes, if I'm thinking of moving to Atlanta and I don't see someone putting out like a, hey, come to Atlanta thing. Yeah. If someone else is on my feed and I know they're in Atlanta and they have a company that does moving or whatever they do, I'm like, okay, well, they're making that joke, but I know what else they do because somewhere it's slipped in there, it's on their profile or something like that. So,
yeah. But this is, I think, a good example of, you're probably going to do better. You're probably going to connect with an audience better by just talking about what you care about, than trying to talk about interest rates or, whatever your work jargon is. I mean, you can maybe mix that in, and it's good to, make sure, you definitely want to make sure people know what you do. If one of your goals is to get ancillary business from the content, that may not be your goal or one of your goals, but I think you're a great example of, you're going to build more of an audience talking about something that's interesting than just talking about your business.
Yeah, a big part of it is just making people feel something. You make them laugh, you make them cry, you make them angry, then you get engagement. And that's what drives that visibility portion of it. But you've got to make people feel something, or just want to buy something. I don't know. I don't do that type of content, so I don't really know how well that works. But yeah,
that's cool. How's it feel to have people coming up to you saying, Hey, are you that write that down guy?
Yeah, that's new. Well, and then new in the last 6 months or a year. I mean, we've had people a couple years back um, in an airport in a completely different city. I think we were in Florida, or maybe we were in Atlanta, making a transfer flight, or I don't remember what it was. And some people had found us, and that was like the beginning of it. But now it seems like it happens a lot more often. So it's weird at first,
Yeah.
but I think it's cool. You know, just to say, hey,
Yeah.
yeah, cool, you're watching us, and they're always like, oh, hey, make us laugh, and you see you on there, and people are kind of in awe. And maybe it's an imposter syndrome thing I have, where I'm like, it's not. I don't really. It's not that big of a deal, but to other
Mhm.
people, it is. So
Yeah. What does your wife say? What's your wife think?
she she gets it more often than I do, because she's a bartender here locally at one of the restaurants, and
Uh-huh.
works a couple nights a week, and it happens at least a couple times a night to her. It seems like, because there's so many more people that she sees in a day.
Yeah. Yeah,
Where
that makes sense.
I'm only
No,
visible
that's
online.
yeah, that's funny. That's really cool. And
And that
and
was
I know,
her whole thing, was bringing her in was the reason that we started to go into the jokes, because we just didn't have the same mindset or the understanding on the empathy side of things, and so that's why I brought her in. And so it's been a journey, as far as just in marriage too, with even having her
yeah,
involved. I know she thought I was crazy. Why is he spending all this time doing all this,
yeah,
social media content, blah blah blah.
right.
And finally, when you bring her in, now she's seeing the results of it, or something that we enjoy doing together. And she doesn't really do anything other than sit in the back of the couch for the most part, and when I can
Yeah.
get a video here and there. So yeah, it's
The
been
the
journey.
best ones are the ones where she is more involved, or when she's, talking trash to you. Those are my favorites. Or the
Yeah.
ones where you get in trouble and you're out in the cold.
I know I need to do another one of those soon. There was a good one I just did the other day. I posted up there, and someone said, I was waiting for you to be outside in the snow for this one. And I was like, yeah, I just ran out of time. But yeah, those are funny. And then you get the people who get all butthurt about it and say, oh, there's nothing fun about,
Yeah.
domestic abuse and men get, abused
Yeah.
too. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. That's your story. That's fine. And you got to realize that
Yeah.
that's where people see their thing from. But one thing I say is I really started giving a lot less about what people care when you understand how much they really don't. I mean, they might care, and people take that the wrong way too, but they care for that hot second that they see the video and it strikes a chord with them. But then
Yeah.
they move on with their lives. There's too many other things going on they could give two shits less about
Yeah.
it. They just want to stand on their high horse about stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah.
So are there any other types of things that you want to venture into with content that you are thinking about that you haven't done yet?
As you have to be flexible on stuff. Otherwise, you're going to wear people out. You're going to reach new people with the same stuff over and over again.
Mhm.
But you do kind of have to change it up a little bit. So I'd like to do some more
Oh, for
skit.
your existing audience, that makes sense.
Yeah, like skit comedy. Some of the stuff in there is like, dumb marriage tips that aren't really tips. You know what I mean? And that's the whole funniness of them. And they'd be fun to do as a couple together, where like one, I've seen it done before. And that's the thing, is people will mimic content.
Mhm.
I'd say 99% of stuff. I've redone some old jokes, like the
Mhm.
3 Rings of Marriage one, maybe as one, but
Yeah.
for the most part, I come up with all the new stuff. And so, but anyways, I said there's one where this couple, you're talking in the kitchen and like, hey, you want to go for a quickie? And the wife just pipes up and is like, it's always a quickie. How about we try for a longie this time, or something like that? And that's fun. And you got to be able to make fun of yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't take life too seriously.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, Lori could do so many shows about me, my ADHD, or waking her up at night with my sleep right now. There's so many things that she could make fun of.
Right. But then there's a lot that goes into like figuring out how do you piece that together into something that you can present to someone, right? Like, you know, it's funny in your head. Like, I leave the cupboards open all the time. It drives my wife absolute batshit bonkers. But
yeah,
I see my oldest daughter does the same thing, where you get involved in one thing and then all of a sudden you're off somewhere else, and it gets left on the counter, or the cupboard doors stay open. I've always had the cupboard doors open. It's been a thing for probably my whole life, and it drives her bonkers. And I'll try to close them, but that doesn't get noticed, you know. Nobody notices when I close the damn cupboard door.
Yeah.
You know, what about that?
I came up with a new system recently that I think is, and I'm not just being a smartass when I did this, but I came up with a system where I'm going to try to work on 5 of the issues that she's concerned about at one time, because she usually has a number of things that are very legitimate concerns that I need to work on. But I've said, well, let me try to work on a smaller number at one time. It might be easier for me to focus on them, and so I'm trying to do that. I don't know if it necessarily means I get an out on the ones that are not in the top 5, but I'm trying that right now.
So, like, my mind immediately when you say that just goes to, how do I turn that into content? And thinking, like, that's a pretty easy one, where it's like, you know, the key to being happy is, you know, to work on a few things at a time, and then just have one piece of paper and have this stack in front of you, right? Like, of all of the things that she's annoyed with you on it. Just that enough will create the engagement, because people will latch onto it, right? Because it's pretty relatable, and that's the fun part about it. So
that's super cool. You've even got to a point where you have merch. Is this that's not write that down, merch on your head right now, is it?
No, this is a company out of Seattle that I just like their hats. And the CEO took it upon himself, probably, I don't know, 5-6 months ago, send me like 10 different hats, and had a letter in there that he
really
typed, and
that is so damn cool that you're getting like merch from other companies because of it. That is,
so you wear hats. I'd love for you if you could wear these ones. If you like them, you like them. If you don't, you don't. And then so I ended up reaching out to him and talked, and so we do a little bit of a collaboration on some stuff. I've done a few different things for them, but I don't know. I like hats.
What kind of work do they do?
You might need a hat too.
Oh yeah, man. In the summertime, I definitely have to.
What kind of work do what do?
The guys that gave you the hats, what do they do?
Hats.
Oh, they make hats. Oh, I thought I thought that was just some of their merch. Okay, well, right on. Well, what's the name of the company?
It's a Haka hat. HAKA. It's a pretty neat, pretty cool thing how they kind of got that all started and everything. But it was those guys, and I do some stuff with Shield Republic. I wear a lot of their hats, father figure, and natty daddy hats. Just
saw that
stuff, like when you were 20, 21, wearing them out to the bars.
Yeah.
Now I'm 40, 41, wearing them out to everywhere.
Yeah. I saw the father hat is definitely funny. Or it looks cool. It looks like kind of like one of the beer commercial logos or something.
It's a Busch Light Mountains in the back, I think.
Yeah.
Busch Light logo, and it says it's not a dad bod, it's a father figure. But you can't stuff. The small stuff. So
yeah, no, that's good. And you didn't you tell me recently that you got up in the box at a Red Wings game too?
No, that was sort of. We had some other tickets from something else, and that's how we were in a box. But John Keating, who is a staple on Red Wings Live, and he does a lot of stuff with the Tigers. He's actually calling it retirement, calling it quits after the Red Wings season this year.
Oh wow!
But he reached out on Facebook and just said, "Hey, I love your stuff. It's funny. Thank you," or whatever. And I knew who he was. I've watched the Red Wings for years and years, and I guess can't really be the real John Keating, Well, it turns out it was.
Yeah.
And so we connected, and I got to get these alerts to turn off on my computer apparently. But yeah, we connected, and we were actually at a Red Wings game a few weeks after him and I had talked, and I got to take some pictures with him and Larry Murphy, good old Larry, somebody I grew up watching, and a Hall of Famer. So that was pretty neat. Yeah, little stuff. Everything happens, and I don't want to say it happens for a reason, but it all happens dependent upon something else, right? I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah.
But it's funny when you sit back, if you ever were to draw a map out or a line out of how you got to where you are now, it's all going to be relationships, how you treat people, and people that you pay attention to and who you've turned into. So I always try and keep that in the back of my head, when I'm responding to comments or people online here and there, and then usually I stay out of them because they can be wild some days in one direction or the other. So but how did you? And I know I usually want to talk about me, but how did you even start? What was the idea for New to Media? Because you're in Georgia, and from what I know, I mean, you bought up how many different domains that are?
A ton, almost 800, and we are because we created a ton of different sites that are new to this or new to that for cities all over the place. But it started for my financial business because I'm an investment advisor in my other business, and I wanted to try to find a way to start connecting with more people that were moving to new cities. I knew that it was there's a lot of opportunity for financial planners like me, especially in a transient city like Atlanta. There are a lot of people that are not from here that live here. There are a lot of Fortune 1000 companies here, and so a lot of people are here for one stop in their career on the way, whether they work for Coke or Home Depot or one of these ton of companies that are based here or just have operations here for the Southeast. And so I thought, hey, I've got to find a way to try to just meet more of these people that are moving here. And so I thought, well, hey, let's create a company New to and try to help other businesses market to those people that are moving to a new city. And we've spent about 4 years on it, and it's been a ton of fun. It's been great working with a bunch of other businesses on marketing, but it's something that is constantly changing. And I've brought in other people to do a lot of the work, but it's a lot of fun to work on something that's creative when you're a numbers person, a financial person, and you're in another industry that's a lot more regulated. I mean, do you like that? Just about.
It's a whole different side of the brain.
It is.
Right. So, and you're not regulated, at least, I can probably be a little more off the cuff on here with my stuff. Then you might be able to do too much, I guess. Maybe, I don't know, as far as an advisor, but there's also that it's just an opinion, right? Like, it's just a stigma that you're stuck being like some uptight banker type person, and it's just that's not me.
No, it's well, I can be a little stuffy sometimes, but it's so fun to get away from some of that, and I mix it in. I mix the two businesses together a little bit, but I do it because I like helping other people with these things. I don't really spend time marketing the financial business. One, because it's hard to get marketing approved sometimes doing that stuff, and I don't have to worry about that when I'm getting things approved for other people's businesses.
Right.
So it's a lot of fun to help them with it. It's a lot of fun to learn about just how technology is evolving with those things. Part of it is, of course, AI related, but part of it's just the way software evolving and all kinds of other cool things with that. I mean, no, New Two's been a lot of fun, and I appreciate that you've been an advocate for us, and it's been a lot of fun to network with people in BNI. Shout out to BNI. The tech is we're going on a new platform coming up soon. We're going to be going on to the OTT platforms like the Roku and Fire Stick platforms with the City Guide in the next few weeks, which is going to be a lot of fun because that's going to allow us to start marketing the same content for the businesses and hotels and a bunch of other places where we will meet other people that are moving to new cities. But yeah, thanks for the shout out, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what AI does to all of this, whether it's content creation or business in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, I think they're just talking about some. I mean, obviously Elon's kind of on top of the AI stuff, and Zuck too. I listen to a lot of Rogan's podcasts, and he's had both of them on recently. He had Zuckerberg on for, it was, I don't know, close to 3 hours, and
yeah,
it's funny to see him kind of do a little bit of a 180 on stuff. But it was also neat to see him and hear what else he does other than just being this, you know, Facebook head. You know, he does jujitsu a lot.
Yeah.
And
which those two both connect on. They're both into that stuff.
Well, yeah, that was the whole thing where Rogan called him out on having a thicker neck or something like that, and asked if he used a certain supplement for his neck. I think it was. I don't remember. But yeah, you got to imagine at that point, like you're running Facebook, but you got your minions doing most of that work. You know, you got to have some fun too, and go and do some stuff. It'd be fun to get into jiu-jitsu. I don't know, at 41, I might have to ease my way into it and not go very far. Who knows? You know, it'd be fun just to beat the shit out of something for a while and take out some aggression. Probably be a lot happier.
Here's what you do, because we're going to give people the ability to do pay-per-view events with this stream platform that we're moving a lot of the content to. We'll set up a pay-per-view event for you. When you and the wife, when a joke goes wrong and it turns into a brawl, and you two go into a jiu-jitsu match.
That'd be funny. Remember, well, you probably have a couple years on me, but remember his celebrity death match stuff on MTV growing up?
Yes, I do.
20-something odd years ago.
Yeah.
Like the claymation that they used in those things was something else.
Yeah, and wasn't there supposed to be a death match, or not a death match, but some type of match between Zuckerberg and Elon at one point? I think they were both, Zuckerberg challenged him or something, and a bunch of people were saying, Elon, you better be careful. That guy, he spends a lot of time on that stuff. He might actually know what he's doing.
Well, yeah, so I've listened in both those podcasts. It came up mainly in Elon's podcast, but was it Zuck that he was going to fight? Yeah. There was a whole bunch of back and forth about it, and I don't remember him talking about it with Zuckerberg about it. But Elon does a ton of that stuff too.
Oh, he does?
He's very well versed in Brazilian jiu-jitsu, I think it is.
I remember reading about his or listening to part of the Isaacson biography about the camps that his dad sent him to as a kid. And that was crazy. I mean, it sounds like it was really child abuse, the way that his dad sent Elon and his brothers to these almost like hard knocks camps where they were forced to fight. But that was, so he's definitely been around some fighting, but I didn't know if he had done much since his childhood.
Yeah, from what I know, or what I've just heard him talking about on a couple different podcasts, I mean, he's pretty good, pretty well versed in it. But I had never heard about the childhood stuff. I mean, it's funny that to just hear people's story, because everybody comes up in a little different way, and then you see where they are now, and you're just, man, everything that happened played into something. You know, Elon has a brother, I believe, don't quote me on this, but he has a large company that he and Elon had started at some point and then sold for like 300 million years back, and then his brother's successful too, just in a little different way. And not, like the number 2 wealthiest person in the world, like Elon, which I don't even know if that's true, but but doing really well. So, people just get lost in the shadows sometimes of other things.
Yeah.
But it's neat just to see people's stories.
Yeah. I was really, I mean, he's on the spectrum. And so that's interesting. He talks about his Asperger's and how it affects his ability to connect on an emotional level sometimes. It sounds like that, it does create some challenges for him.
He can be really dry. People are losing their damn minds about the whole his salute, quote unquote, or whatever he was doing, and who knows if that's got anything to it or not. But it's funny to see social media just running with that, or even mainstream media.
Yeah, I think he was just excited. But I mean, I'm not gonna wade into the political stuff. But I think if they really want to make you look bad, they can take video and turn it into still images that are negative for everybody. But he's an incredible guy. I mean, I saw where Jamie Dimon yesterday, I think, said he's like the Einstein of our time, and he really is, because he's doing all these things that people said were impossible. And the astronauts that were doubting him 10 years ago, they're not saying anything now. I mean, he has rockets that are landing more than 2 or more times a day. I mean, just the ability to cut billions and billions out of rocket science from reusing materials, and some of these other things he's doing are incredible. I think the money that he could make, and this is not any kind of investment recommendation, but I think the money he could make with Starlink just in cell phone service, could dwarf what he's done with Tesla.
Yeah, and Starlink's actually, it's not horribly expensive either, and you use it all over, and the connectivity is amazing. But yeah, just watching one of his rockets come back and land back into the carriage that it took off from is
it's insane,
mind-boggling.
Yeah. And what I mean, I do think he needs to do some styling updates on the Tesla, but just the self-driving, that's why I want a Tesla. It's not the electrification that I care about. It's the self-driving, so I can work or watch TV while I'm in a car traveling somewhere.
Yeah, I would be on the opposite end of that. Like, not that I'm, first of all, I'm a little skeptic of it. I don't want something else to drive me that I'm not in control of. I mean, I'm too much of a control freak for that. But driving sometimes to me is just a release. I listen to a lot of podcasts while I'm driving. I keep bringing that up, but it's just like a constant, this information. Oh, I love information. But it's a release for me not to have to be doing something else, right? Like, I'm just driving. Yeah. And I don't know. To me, it's I could drive for days. I don't mind doing it, but sometimes I hate that it takes so long to get certain places. But we can do some teleporting. That'll be soon, I'm sure. Maybe in the next 20, 30 years.
Well, that's a healthier. Doing one thing at a time is definitely healthier. Not just for reducing the chance of a wreck, but just for clearing your head.
Right.
So that's another thing that I'm going to try to work on. But that's cool. So, so it's early in the year. What are you thinking about for when you think about your goals for where you want to go with all this stuff? Do you have any things that you want to do differently? I know you've got a larger team helping you with the mortgage business now, which I know is great, so that you can keep growing what you're doing and make sure you're giving great service to the people that are working with you on the financial side.
Yeah, I have a partner that it's my right hand guy on the mortgage side of things. Delegating is always key to scaling anything. So I have a new company taking over merchandise and developing stuff for me. And basically, I told him, I was like, I don't want anything to do with this. I don't have to touch it. I don't have to design it. I don't have to do anything like that. Like here's a list of all the stupid shit I say, or have your design team run with it. So I don't know. I do think about it. I stop and think, and I've got some goals sitting up on the wall as far as things that I would love to happen. I'd love to be able to travel more with my family, honestly.
Yeah.
Even get around and do some speaking stuff, because the mental health and the motivational side of things is still a pretty big focus.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, what do you do at 40, 41 and making, social media content? What do you turn that into? That's something I'm working on. That's kind of my goal by the end of February, is to have a lot more clear path as to, okay, what does this even turn into? What does it look like? You've been running so hard that putting shit out there, and now you've got an audience. Now what do you do with it? How do you monetize it even more? Other than just ad revenue and things like that, which does well, but now what?
Well, and you mentioned the mental health. Tell me more about that. What do you try? What's the message you want to get out there to people?
That's even makes it even more convoluted, because I feel like you start going down that's a rabbit hole. Like, people struggle with stuff all the time, and failed to reach out to anyone. I've had some really good friends that over the past years, that just succumbed to the dark thoughts and didn't win their battle there. And then you start looking at that, and we could go down this rabbit hole where so much of it has to do with nutrition and what you're putting in your body. And I could talk on a million different points on what really makes us feel the way we're feeling, if you want to get into the scientific side of it. So that's where I'm really trying to figure out, like, okay, you got to pick a direction, Stevie. You can't just cast this huge wide net all the time.
Yeah.
And think you're going to, find what you really want to do. And it also it adds to the stress of, okay, my to-do list is ever growing and never stops. But yeah, as far as that goes, I mean, I think being able to travel around and talk motivational wise to people is, I don't know that I want to develop anything or do too much even in the mental health space as far as my own, but even just teaming up with somewhere to promote them and that sort of thing, which I think it will be more on the health side of things, because I've been doing carnivore now for 6 months, and that's been a neat journey too.
I'm sorry, doing what for 6 months?
Carnivore.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, and so much of that is just the health, the health parts of it. I want to be, in 30 years when I'm 70, I still want to be horseback riding and riding snowmobiles or, climbing mountains, hiking, doing stuff like that. You see so many people that can barely move at like 50, and get sucked into, thinking that just a pharmaceutical drug or whatever is going to fix everything for them.
Yeah.
When in reality, if you really just start paying a little bit more attention to, getting up and moving and your nutrition, you can fix 99% of the problems that people take a pill for. So that's trying to figure out if I want to run with that for something too is a whole nother.
Oh, that could all be part of it, man. Now when you say carnivore, obviously it's more meat. What do you cut out? Are you cutting out? Are you like just meat? What you cut out?
Eat meat, eggs, butter, coffee, just black coffee with butter and salt in it.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So you've cut out almost all sugar and carbs.
Oh, yeah. Sugar, yeah. Yep. I've never was a huge sugar guy, but I mean, I get cravings here and there, and I'll grab a Hershey's Kiss or something like that. But yeah, I don't do many carbs. And when you start to really research things, I mean, you don't have to have carbs. Sounds crazy. But sometimes if I'm going to do a workout, I mean, some guys and some people are crazy about their carnivore stuff, and they will tear into you about what you do and what you're eating and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, it works for you. It works for you. Yeah. The biggest thing to me is just clean eating, which is what I'm excited to see some changes coming up over the next few years on what goes into our food.
Yeah.
Because you start to look at that, and it's crazy the amount of things that we have approved, and they follow that money. And yeah, like, you know, you can go to Italy and eat pasta and all their stuff and lose weight in comparison to the American diet.
Yeah.
You know, something like 40% of people over 40 are pre-diabetic already. And that's been a huge change over the last 20 years.
I'm definitely not a model. Just sitting here drinking my Coca-Cola with 39 grams of sugar per.
And that stuff is, yeah. Well, I'll let you have your thing.
No, I need to cut it out for sure, but it's delicious. Coca-Cola, if you want to be a sponsor, we won't even say anything negative at all until then. You're fair game.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy to see what sugar does to the bodies, or does to your body.
Oh yeah, I've had skin cancers, and it's not good for cancer. So that's a reason alone for me to cut it out.
Not a reason big enough, like, apparently.
Yeah. So I've got to gonna make that happen. I'm gonna at least reduce the amount of sugar.
I'm not here to beat you up about sugar. You can do it too.
Oh man. Well, I think it's cool what you've done. I'm excited for you. I think it's inspiring for other people that are trying to get up the guts to start creating content, to see that somebody like yourself took some time you took a chance with a campaign to try to help some people, and then over time you kept that going by creating some humor. It was, you were having some fun just doing something that started really small, and what you said at the very beginning is so important. You just kept on. You just didn't quit. You kept after it, which I think is, one of the most important things is doing it consistently. And you can't expect to build an audience in a month.
Sorry if you can hear those plows going.
No, that's okay. I barely hear it.
Yeah, I mean, anybody starts out, you do your faceless content, do your dances, your whatever,
your TikTok stuff. Yeah,
it kind of morphs into, or it could be anything.
Right.
You be walking with your camera and talking in the background about how good a restaurant is, or whatever you want your niche to be. And then eventually you build up that confidence to be in front of it talking. But yeah, to your point, it's 100% consistency. It's the word my family hates the most in my household, because I'm such a proponent of it. You absolutely have to continually do something if you're going to get good at it.
Yep.
And if you're ever going to be successful at something, we live in such an instant gratification world now where, we just expect to put out 5 videos, and all of a sudden one of them goes viral, and then, oh my gosh, we're famous. We don't have to do anything. Yep. And if you find those, you can find viral videos, and then you try and find these people, and they might have a couple thousand people that follow them because they thought at that point, then they don't put anything else out. Then it kind of messes with your head. You know, you get a couple million view video or something like that, and you're like, oh my gosh, well, what do I do now? And everybody overthinks it. Like, just put out more of the same thing and do it a ton, and maybe you'll grab and people will start to recognize. But yeah, it's a consistency game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I was trying to find a video that was not a video. It was a screenshot I had from a comment about consistency, and I can't find it. But essentially said success doesn't come from the things you do occasionally. It comes from the things that you do consistently.
No, 100%.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate that you have consistently given me the chance to keep in touch with you, man, to learn more from what you're doing and to just hang out. It's always a pleasure having a conversation, and I'm excited to introduce you to more folks with this recording. Hopefully we can even help you grow the audience a little bit more.
Yeah, you have to send me this for recording. I'll chop it up into some short stuff too, and maybe just put it up. I can throw it up on my YouTube.
Yeah.
Tag you guys too. I got 126, 127,000 on there. So
outstanding. Yeah, I appreciate it. We'll do that. I'll get it over to you soon. And again, for anyone that is tuning in late, this is Steve Wiltz. Steve is a mortgage professional and influencer that you probably know as the Write That Down guy. We'll have the link so that you can connect with him. But thanks again, Steve.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good one, man.
Let's go!